Righto, so following on from the last episode, my plan was to get this roof finished, but with everything that I do in my life, I didn't get a chance to do that. And I'm heading off to SEMA tomorrow, so I need to get all this stuff sealed up. So I've been pushing hard last couple of days to finalise everything, all the little edges and all. And what I'm about to do now is use this product, which is a pinhole filler. So it's pretty easy to use. It's a paste, and you just get a rag. When I say a rag, I use one of the Mercer cloths, the lint 3 cloths, and I'm just going to put some of that on and rub it in and make sure I've got no pinholes in any of that filler. And then it looks a bit odd because it's sort of all patchy, but there's a couple of reasons. One is, if you watch the last episode, that's how I put it in, but also where the ribs are, and the fact that where I've overlapped, you can sort of see the change. But this roof had a fair bit of damage, which I straightened up, and now we'll put some product on it and see how good a job I've done, I guess. So I'm on my own, so I'll just see if I can film this and rub it in. So you can thin it down if you need to with a bit of Prepsol, and effectively you're sort of cleaning everything at the same time as you're filling up any bits and pieces. And you'll actually see in some of it where here you can see a few lines, so they're deeper scratch marks that haven't come out. This stuff will actually fill that up. And I've found in the past, if you leave a little bit, sorry about the camera work, if you leave a little bit on an edge, for instance here, a little bit of a dag, like that, say, and if you paint over that, it absorbs all of the paint, whatever you're using, like the epoxy, and ends up a little lump, so, and very hard. So you need to make sure that you rub it all in, get rid of all the excess. Now, this start line filler I find goes in really good, and I don't get a lot of pinholes, but it will pick them up if you do. And whatever the paste is, once you put your paint over the top of it, your product, in this case epoxy, or if it's a primer, it just turns it hard, fills the pinhole. So I'll go over and do all of that, and then Prepsol everywhere else, and then we'll start looking at putting some 616 on it. So there's a good example of some pinholes. I don't know if the focus will get that. And that stuff just goes in all them little holes. And when I put the epoxy on, we won't have any pinholes to worry about. Righto, so there's a done deal. So a couple of coats. Deltron DP616. Looks pretty good. Couple of little bit of movement here and there, but not too bad. It looks a lot better now than it did before I put it on, that's for sure. So I'm happy with some of these lines that I've been making. Really happy with the way that all looks along there. Up under here has got to be sealed with some urethane of some sort. There's a couple of little things that you can see. This line here, it's just the tape is not quite as nice as I'd like it, and I can see where I've been in there with a block, but they're the difficult areas to get right. But considering what we started with, I'm more than happy with that. Righto, so I'm doing body work. I need to make sure that my tail lights are going to fit to the body, and I can't change the shape of these, but I can change the shape of the body while I'm doing a bit of filler work. So I did one, and I thought, well, that was a bit silly because I got two, but I thought that's an opportunity to film it. So all I'm doing is paint stripping, because these are the original ones that came with the rally pack, so they were painted from the factory. So they got no chrome on them, and because of that, we've got none of that horrible pitting. So normally you get like little bubbles and stuff under the chrome. So these are going to be really choice to paint. And on the inside, where that glue and all was from the rubber, the paint stripper took all that off as well. So I've just put a little bit of that on and just show you how quick that's going to react. I think these might have got a little bit of a paint job somewhere along the line, but you can see there, look, straight away, coming straight off. So I'll paint them up, give them a bit of a scrub up. So I'm just using one of these little brushes, just a plastic brush, just to agitate it a bit, and that'll probably take 1 or 2 coats and it'll be brand new, just like the other one. Righto, so I cleaned these up, and I did that primarily so that I can trial fit them, because I like to trial fit everything as I go. Unfortunately I have, because when you put that on, you know, everything around here looks good, but the gap along the back here is quite large, and this top corner is touching, but then it's got a large gap down the other side. Now when I have a look at this tail light compared to the other side, it looks like it's had a hit on this top corner. There's no evidence of it, but it's clearly in. And then when I look a bit closer, it's actually got a couple of dents in here, so I don't know where they would have come from. It's almost like someone's, yeah, I don't know how they would get there besides someone trying to knock in from the back to get it off, but I'm going to have to fix that. So being cast aluminium and quite thin, I'm going to take it down on the anvil, I'm going to get a block of wood, and I'm going to preheat it just with a heat gun, just to help it move a bit. It doesn't got to go much, so we'll just take it down the back and see how we go. Righto, so I just grabbed Steve to hang on to it. So I'm using the anvil and I'm putting these flat surfaces on there so we don't mark it. And I'm just going to preheat this with the heat gun. Oh, surprising how hot that's got that quickly. So it's very thin. I'm concerned about breaking it, but I don't have any choice. I've got to fix it. So I'm just going to take a block of wood on that corner. And I think that moved. I'll go and check it, but I reckon it has. Alright, so put that back in now. Now I've got nothing 2 mil, so I just need a little bit more, but more on this top edge than this side. So it has gone. Now it does have a rubber behind it, but I'm trying to work on getting it really close before I do that. And something's holding it out a bit there as well. Righto, let's do the same thing again. Really hard to tell how much that's moving, but it is going. It looks much better. Now, when I push that in to hold onto the where it mounts, I've now got a fairly consistent gap all the way around. Good on that side, but not so good on this side. Remembering this was all lead filled before. So I'm going to have to tap this bracket. You can see there, it looks like it's had a bit of a hit as well. So I'm going to knock that down a bit. That's definitely up. So I'll make a bit of clearance and see if we can get that in a bit tighter. The other side was quite good. And I've done my filler work on the other side already, but I'll show you how I've done that when I do this side. And the plan is to get it all to fit nice and flush. When planning your project, make sure that you pick a product, a quality product, to go through the whole process. So whether it's your epoxies, your primers, all the way through to your finish, stay with the same brand, and that'll guarantee you, first of all, warranty with that particular company, but also knowing that all of those paints are designed to work together. My choice has been PPG. I've been with them 25 years and we've been able to produce some of the best paint work in Australia, and my trust is in them to continue to produce the products you need. Now, don't forget, they've got a premium range, a mid-range, which is the Deltron, and then you can go down to something like the Autothane. So PPG's got everything covered. Check them out. They're my choice. They should be yours. So I've just put the shell back on the hoist to get it off the rotisserie, because I want to check this tailgate and the upper gate to make sure everything's going to fit before I start filling too much more around the back area here. So we've just put that on. We had to sort of try and remember how it all went together because we haven't done too many panel vans. And fortunately, because I'd cleaned up all these hinges and straightened things and cleaned threads and all, it's gone together really quickly. And I've just put the mechanism back in so it'll all close properly. And I'm doing all of that because of body lines primarily. So I've put it on, and then you can see here I've got some lines. So I've just been using my straight edge and I'm working off the line that's on the new skin that we replaced. And then I've drawn that line all the way out to reference it, get a reference off the holes out here, because I've got a big difference between this point and this point. It's like 10 mil. The skin itself, the line's square, and when I run the straight edge all the way through, my line is coming to the center of this hole on both sides. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to just tweak the body a little bit here. So I'll probably just put a little slot in the back, knock this point down so that it lines up with the skin. And I mean, it would have been acceptable. It's a commercial vehicle when it was built. But what I'm going to do now is just fiddle with some of that a bit. And then I'll check here. We're within a mil pretty much all the way around, but it'll need a little bit of adjustment. So I'm happy with where I've got that now. I'm going to now put this tailgate, the top gate on, and see how we end up here, because we still need to put the little lip back on that tailgate, because it, from the factory, has another piece that goes on here. So this bit fits up in from the back. I didn't want to weld that on until such time as I had everything in place. So we'll keep tinkering away. So that one will go in there like that, and that creates the lip. I don't know which way it goes yet. I'll have to get my photos out that way, I would say. So it goes on like that, and that creates the lip for the rubber to seal against. So we'll keep putting things back on, and this is all about trial fitting everything before I do the filler work. Panel gaps, so it's become such a big thing nowadays, and I mean, I've always done it, and sometimes you think about it and you go, God, all the amount of work you've got to do. But what we've done now is we've got that tailgate in, we've got across the top here, looking really good, and we need to run around a 4.5, 5 mil gap so that once you've got paint and everything on, everything's good. So you can see there we've got that set at the gap we need, which means over this side we don't have enough, and it looks like that's nearly closed up, but that's about 3 mil. And what we're doing now is just sanding the edge off and then re-welding. So you can see there, started to sand that edge, and then down here it's been sanded, then some weld put on it, and then we'll work towards having that 5 mil gap all the way along. But rather than run the whole thing along and take it off, we'll do piece top and bottom, probably one in the middle, and then do the rest so that it doesn't all come apart. And then up here, this is going to need this radius made to match so that it looks nice like this other side. And we'd already taken a bit off of that, it was worse than that before I managed to grab the camera. So we're working towards it, and when we get done by the end of the day, it'll all look really nice. Right, a bit more progress. So, been working away along here. You can see the pencil line there now, how much is going to be taken off. Now, because it's only like 2 mil, I'm not concerned about the distance from here to here compared to the other side. I don't think that'll be visible, but gaps are always visible. So Darren's been working away at that, and then we'll have both sides matching, which will be so much better. So when you're doing this, you need to just make sure that when you sand it back, you sand back past where you want it to finish. Otherwise, when you sand it back, you're going to take all your weld off. So when you're doing that, 1 to 2 mil is enough, so that when you've welded it and then you sand it back to where the finished job is, there's actually some weld left. Otherwise, it's just going to crack and open up again. Body gaps, door gaps, whoever come up with this idea. So I've been on a long time, and you never still get to a point where you get so frustrated with it. So we've got all this top looking good. We've set the bottom up, and what we've managed to do is have one side again we don't have to touch, and then this side we've had to cut some off it the same as we did with the top. And I'm not going to show you the whole process, because we've already done that when we did the other side up the top. But what I do want to show you is what happens if you weld. So this is a nice new skin. When you weld along the edge, the heat from the welding pulls the panel in. So if I just left that, I've either got to fill the end of the door up here with bog, which gives me a really thick panel on the end, and potentially something that's going to chip off. What I'm going to do is put my dolly on the back and hammer from the other side and take some of that tension out of the weld to get it to release. And I've done it before. I did it on the Camaro when we painted that. So I'll just show you that quickly in a minute. The other thing that we're struggling with a little bit is we've got that whole thing pretty close, but you don't imagine that sometimes you get caught out. Is if you look at the bottom of this door, this one, how much variation. So I've got it hard up against this side over here, and if I put it hard up against this side, I've got a gap in the middle. And when you look at it, it tends to droop off on the end on this side more so than the other side. So the reason I'm doing all of this is because I want to get all my filler work finished so I can seal up the body. So I'm going to leave this for now, but I'm going to finish the tailgate, and I've got all of the perimeters right, but I'm probably going to have to trim a bit off this side here, probably 1 mil or 2, and potentially weld through the middle to take that smiley look out of there, or a frown, through that panel. So I'll make that decision on another day, because I've had Darren here a couple of days and him and I have been working to get to this point. He's taken off today now and gone home. I'll now straighten all this up and get myself ready, because I'm off to SEMA in a couple of days' time. So I want to get everything sealed up before I go. And then when I come home, we'll keep going. So I'm going to lose a couple of weeks between now and that trip, because then I've got to get all this ready to go on the stand at Summernats with PPG. So this one now I need to, so what the other thing we've done is we've welded up the end here. It was quite sharp on the edges, so we've just put a little bit of MIG weld in there and cleaned it up. I'm now going to hammer this edge to force that panel down. So we'll get organised and do that. Nice flat dolly on the back face. And what I'm trying to do is to lengthen this edge without damaging the other face. So what I've found in the past is if I hammer this now, that'll take the tension out of it and move it back out to where it needs to be. Probably about halfway. Getting there. It's unfortunate you've got to do this because it does do a bit of damage to the back edge. But if I just hit on that now, or pull on it with a slide hammer, it will put a dent this far back into the skin, because the metal's got to go somewhere. So you've just got to stretch this outer edge. I'm down to less than half a mil, so a little bit more. I think I'm relatively happy with that. If you look at down there, and then look up here now, it's made a big difference. And it's probably enough just to have a little skim on there now rather than having a couple of mil of filler. So that's the process. Just got to keep doing it, and then I'll just tidy this up with a a Scotch-Brite on that little merkin machine, make it look a bit nicer, but it'll need a little skim of filler in there now, unfortunately, with the new skin, but it's what you do when you're chasing gaps. Well, that's a good way to lose a couple of days, isn't it? So we've got that looking pretty good now, and as you can tell, it's back on the rotisserie now because I need to start moving forward. There's still a couple of little adjustments there. When you're on and off doing all these things, half a mil, it's surprising how much difference it makes, but I'm really happy with where I'm up to because I want to get the body finish. That's what I'm trying to work towards. So we'll do the bottom edge of this later, but I'm really happy with the appearance now. It's amazing the difference it makes. Going from, you know, average gaps, they weren't too bad, they're probably good factory gaps, but average in my mind to where we are now just helps us to go forward. So that winds up just another episode, and what I'll do now is keep working away, getting all the rest of the body finished, and then we'll start thinking about getting the doors on, and then we've got to do the gaps on the doors as well. So thanks for watching again. We'll keep working away and bring it to you as it happens. So thanks for joining us. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Click the like button. Got any questions or queries about the products we use or the way we're doing things, or if you want to tell me how you used to do it, I'm always keen to listen to that as well because I'm learning from you guys as well. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.